Stoicism begins with a radical proposition that the wise man, the truly good man, is not the one who avoids suffering, but the one who refuses to betray his soul. He lives by nature's code, not the nature of trees and rivers, but the ruthless, unblinking order of the universe itself. He doesn't fear pain. He doesn't fear death. He doesn't fear losing his wealth, his comfort, or even his life. The only thing he dreads is failing to live up to the full weight of what it means to be human. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire that touched 3 continents. He had the wealth of nations, the power of a god, and the loyalty of armies. And yet, Marcus Aurelius didn't chase glory. He didn't chase pleasure. He chased something far rarer: virtue, philosopher, emperor, stoic. Marcus Aurelius wasn't just one of history's great thinkers. He may have been the only man in power who could have had everything, but chose nothing, except discipline. He is remembered not just for the wars he fought or the empire he led, but for how he lived. This isn't a self-help video. And yet, the wisdom Marcus Aurelius left behind might be the antidote to every modern anxiety we face: chaos, fear, indecision, ego. And I want to show you why. He ruled Rome from 161 to 180 AD, during the final chapter of what historians now call the Pax Romana, the last peaceful breath of a savage world. And when Marcus died, peace died with him. At that time, Rome was the known world. And Marcus? He was its axis. He could have bathed in decadence like the emperors before him, drunk on wine, worshipped like a god, surrounded by opulence, mistresses, and marble palaces. Every temptation mankind had invented was his for the taking, and yet he chose something no emperor was expected to choose: restraint. For 19 years, Marcus stood at the peak of power and stared down the abyss of temptation, and every single day, he chose integrity. He didn't do it for applause. He didn't do it for legacy. He did it because, deep down, he believed a man should strive to be good for one reason only. Because that's what humans were made to do. Now imagine you had that power, that freedom. Could you resist it? Could you say no? Every single day, for nearly 2 decades, Marcus did. And the reason we know it's real? Because the best version of Marcus Aurelius didn't appear in front of the Senate, or on the battlefield, or in bronze statues. There's a book called Meditations, but calling it a book is misleading, because Meditations wasn't written for you. It wasn't written for philosophers, scholars, or even Marcus's successors. It was written for one man, Marcus himself. It was a journal, a confession, a survival manual for the soul of an emperor. There's no structured plot, no audience, no plan to publish, just raw thought, sharpened by sleepless nights and bloody wars. And that's what makes it one of the most hauntingly honest books ever written. Split into 12 uneven sections, Meditations is barely 150 pages long. But in those few pages, you hear a man wrestling with himself, trying to stay grounded as the most powerful human alive. These weren't lessons for others. They were desperate reminders to himself, notes from a man who could command legions, but couldn't command his own mortality. He writes about discipline, about death, about restraint, not to teach, but to remember, to keep himself from being swallowed by power. And that's why it matters, because when no one was watching, Marcus Aurelius wrote to keep himself good. To Marcus Aurelius, nature wasn't just trees and animals. It was law, it was blueprint, it was destiny. Trees grow tall not because they seek approval, but because that's what they were made to do. A caterpillar becomes a butterfly not for applause, but because it has no other choice. That, to Marcus, was nature, a silent command for every living thing to fulfill its purpose. And humans, we had a duty too, not to collect wealth, not to earn praise, but to become the most virtuous, most compassionate, most resilient versions of ourselves. That was our programming, our nature. And failing to rise to that calling, that, Marcus believed, was the deepest failure of all. Because nothing else is truly yours, not your health, not your fortune, not even the people you love. Everything can be stripped away, except your response. So when the storms come, and they will, the one thing left standing should be you. Your choices, your strength, your virtue. That, Marcus says, is what it means to live in accordance with nature. Marcus Aurelius was no monk. He didn't live in a cave. He ruled an empire. He dealt with traitors, liars, thieves, every kind of malice a human can manifest, and yet he didn't hate them. He didn't rage at the wicked. Why? Because he believed evil was just another part of nature, like thorns on a vine, annoying, painful, but not unexpected. To Marcus, asking the world to rid itself of bad people was like asking a lion not to roar. It misses the point. They exist, and you will meet them. But you don't get to rage, you don't get to pity yourself, you only get to choose how you respond. He wrote to himself, "Marcus, who are you to judge? You have faults too, maybe not the same ones, but just as real. You too have been ignorant, you too have failed. And even if someone does wrong, how can you be sure they know it's wrong? What if the thief is feeding his children? What if the person you despise is just surviving? You don't know. And more importantly, you can't know, so don't judge. Instead, look inward. Clean your own soul before you start condemning the dirt on someone else's. Because Marcus believed one thing above all: we were born for each other. Just like fruit grows for animals, just like worms feed on the dead. Human beings were made to serve, help, and endure one another. And if you abandon that, you've abandoned your role in the cosmic machine. Marcus Aurelius didn't live a charmed life. He faced plagues, betrayals, barbarian invasions, personal loss. He was an emperor, but that didn't spare him from suffering, and he never expected it to. In fact, Marcus believed adversity was inevitable, built into the fabric of human life. So instead of praying it wouldn't come, he trained himself for the day it would. He told himself, "Marcus, don't beg for an easy path. Beg to be strong enough when the hard one arrives." He believed this deeply. You cannot control what hits you, only how you rise. So when tragedy strikes, don't fall apart. Don't moan or curse the sky. Instead, stand, grit your teeth, take the hit, move forward, because pain, loss, disaster, none of these are bad unless you choose to collapse. To Marcus, suffering was just another test. A stage for virtue to prove itself. He believed that a brave man doesn't just survive adversity, he's refined by it. And if a day ever came when the pain was too much, when it finally broke you, then die with dignity. Because he wrote, "All men die, but not all men die complaining." Marcus Aurelius could have had it all: gold, jewels, palaces, pleasure, anything a mortal mind could conjure. And he did have it. But he treated it like dust. He didn't hate wealth. He didn't burn his treasures in protest. He simply refused to let them define him. He reminded himself daily, "Marcus, don't crave what you don't have. Cherish what you do, but hold it loosely, because none of it lasts." He didn't fantasize about villas or feasts or statues in his honor. He dreamed of virtue, of courage, of restraint, because no pile of riches could make him better. Only he could do that. And when he did reflect on what he owned, he told himself, "Imagine how badly you'd want this if it were gone. Appreciate it, but don't cling." That was the line. Gratitude without dependency. To Marcus, possessions were tools, not trophies. Nice to have, but irrelevant to the soul, because the point of life wasn't to accumulate. It was to ascend. Your purpose isn't to gather, it's to grow, to sharpen your character, to stretch your spirit, to become, in every moment, more human. Marcus Aurelius thought about death more than most people think about lunch, not morbidly, not fearfully, but with clarity. Death to him wasn't a punishment, it was an assignment, part of the contract. Just like nature tells trees to grow and rivers to flow, nature commands humans to die. And that's why Marcus didn't waste a second dreading it. He wrote, "Death is coming, Marcus, so live. Be kind, do good, fulfill your duty, and when it's time, go. Because death is not the enemy, wasting your life is." And what is a wasted life? It's chasing fleeting pleasures instead of lasting purpose. It's drowning in noise and never hearing your own soul. It's becoming everything the world expects and nothing that you are. The Stoics saw the difference between pleasure and happiness. Pleasure is a moment, a meal, a purchase, a win. But happiness is peace. It's mastery. It's waking up every day and becoming the man or woman you were meant to be. And the only tragedy in this life is to fall short of that. Because Marcus believed greatness isn't a prize. It's a duty. It's written into your very bones. To live any other way, that's the only thing worth fearing.